Hello everyone, welcome to the Hidden Knowledge channel where we talk about everything occult. And the topic for today's video is a documentary that received a lot of hype, Age of Disclosure. It was even supposed to include proof of alien life. Did it live up to the hype? In this video, we are going to go over all the claims made in the documentary and see if they stand up to scrutiny. Without further ado, let's proceed with the video. Okay, so right from the start I can tell you there is no proof of alien life in the documentary. This documentary was made around the start of 2025, and early screenings took place around March 2025. That's where the hype of this documentary comes from. People were saying this film will make even the doubters believe and so on. And while I think the documentary is good, I don't think it's going to have that effect. Alright, so now that we know what's not in the documentary, what is actually in it? We are going to look at all the claims made and see if they are new knowledge or something that we already knew. So right off the bat, in the first minutes of the documentary, we are told that the best evidence for alien life is still classified and won't appear in this film. That gives you a little preview of what the documentary is going to be like. Then we are told that there are efforts by the deep state to control the narrative around the UFO topic by making it taboo, labeling people who talk about it as lunatics, going even as far as portraying them as such in Hollywood. We know that Hollywood is a massive propaganda machine, so the effect that it has on this is going to be huge. It is even mentioned there are deliberate disinfo campaigns being conducted with the goal of discouraging people from speaking out. And I can say that this claim is true. If you even suggest that there could be aliens living here among us on Earth, people around you will think you're totally crazy. Which is weird considering the evidence just keeps piling up. Then we are told that there are two main forces trying to stop the disclosure. One is religious fanatics within the government and one is something called the legacy program. Let's go over both. It is mentioned by the creators of the documentary that they talk to people in the government trying to facilitate disclosure, but they are told that these are not aliens piloting UFOs, but actually demonic forces that would better be left alone. The narrators then dismiss this as something ridiculous, saying that if there are UFOs in American airspace, they should be studied for the benefit of the Americans. But is this really so ridiculous? How can we be sure that these forces are something 100% physical and not something interdimensional, as claimed by many people? For example, Tucker Carlson. There are definitely spiritual components occurring during these encounters, so I don't think this theory should be dismissed as easily as in the documentary. The other force trying to stop the disclosure is the legacy program, a group of agencies working together, consisting of CIA, which oversees the whole program, Air Force, does the field operations and retrievals, Department of Energy, bringing the expertise of, unsurprisingly, energy, to study the drive of these flying objects, and lastly, defense contractors, for example Lockheed Martin, which specialize in reverse engineering the retrieved objects. This is the structure of the main force trying to stop the whole humanity of finding out the truth about aliens, according to the documentary. Another thing worth mentioning is that, besides all the usual UFO people, prominent politicians such as Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, and Dan Crenshaw appear in the documentary. While politicians aren't very trustworthy people, just their appearance tells us that the push for disclosure is getting more and more mainstream. Now, we get a breakdown of what these UFOs or UAPs are capable of. A hypersonic velocity of 40,000 miles per hour. This is roughly 10 times faster than mankind's fastest aircraft. Trans-medium travel. These things are able to go from water to air or from air to water with no problem. They make the transition from air to water without as much as making a splash. Low observability. These crafts make no sound, such as jets when they break the sound barrier, and are basically invisible to radars too. Anti-gravity. Of course, this is something that probably everyone thinks of when talking about UFOs. Biological effects. This is something that I heard about, but I didn't know that this was so severe. People that come into direct contact with UFOs suffer a 25% casualty rate in the near future. That's right, a quarter of people that interact with these things just drop dead. Other people report illnesses, autoimmune diseases, and increase of paranormal activity around them. One thing that the documentary drops so casually is that there are apparently two types of aliens that are confirmed to exist. And the documentary doesn't elaborate on that. So we can only guess what these kinds are. Greys, reptilians, Nordics? Who knows? Something else that doesn't get elaborated on is Vatican knowledge of these UFOs. Apparently they have it, but to what extent, the documentary doesn't mention. but D.W.Pasulka claims in her books that the Vatican has entire archives dedicated to this stuff. The film goes a bit over the argument about how is it possible for these crafts to be crashing if they are so advanced, and it counter-argues with something that appeared in D.W.Pasulka's books. Some of these are donations. That means the non-human intelligence just gives us this technology and observes what we do with it. Then we get a bit conspiratorial. Apparently, the US presidents are only on a need-to-know basis, and even they do not know all the facts about UFOs. There is a deep state operating, people that are not voted in, that stay in their position for decades, longer than politicians, and they are the ones in power and with all the knowledge. This is something I agree with 100%. It is obvious that politics are just theater to distract us with, and that the real players are hiding in the shadows, controlling the agenda. We are told by the documentary that UFOs are often seen hovering over nuclear ICBMs and that they even shot US missiles out of the sky. It is discussed that they are possibly monitoring our technological progress, which is rapid, and that's why this phenomena has increased since the 1940s, when the nuclear bomb was used. This is a very popular theory in the conspiracy circles, often mentioned on shows like Joe Rogan's. It is mentioned that bodies of extraterrestrials have been recovered from the downed crafts, and that glyphs, runes, and other such symbols were present on them, further playing into the theory about this being a spiritual phenomena. People were killed to keep the knowledge about the body recovery a secret. There is a mention of an UFO incident over the Bush Ranch when he was the president. There were attempts made at interviewing people living nearby, but they all signed non-disclosure agreements preventing any further inquiries. And to finish off the documentary, we have a theory about the drives of these UFOs and how they operate. It is possible that there is a warp bubble with different space-time properties inside, which explains the extraordinary speeds, transmedium travel, and even biological effect it has on people. This is of course very advanced technology, and if someone could reverse engineer it, it would give them a big advantage in securing dominance over other nations. Alright, so there you have it. That's all the noteworthy claims made in the documentary. What do you think about them? Let me know down in the comments. Personally, I already knew most of these things, and if I didn't, I realized that they were around, they just didn't come to my attention. So there is practically nothing new in the documentary. It serves only as a nice roundup of all the available knowledge we have, but it won't convince anyone of alien life as the creators claim. Thank you for watching the video, I hope it was useful to you, and I'll see you in the next one.